Hey, what's up? Andrew Pollock here. I thought I'd share some thoughts from this recent Fuse event put on by Anthony Casa, Katie Sweeney, Brandon Evans, Mark Summers, and some of the awesome folks over at AIM. So overall, the event was just awesome. A lot of awesome people, connections made, seeing clients, new faces. Really was an amazing experience. So thankful for being a part of it. Also wanted to share what really resonated with me, and it was actually Gary Vee's talk. And it's funny because I've never really been a fan of Gary Vee. Obviously mad respect for someone who has accomplished so much, but I've read his books or a few of his books and watched a lot of his content over the years, and just it never really kind of resonated with me too much. I respect for him, lots of good points and information he shared, but I think maybe his style or there's something about it wasn't my cup of tea. Obviously I'm not plenty of people's cup of tea, I would imagine. We all kind of have different people and styles that we vibe with and that we connect with. But at AIM Fuse, just his tone, I don't know if it was him that changed. He kind of alluded to that a little bit, but maybe my perception, I was just a little bit more open to him. But I just felt his style of communicating his message, the empathy, and just the overall way I felt like he was talking to me directly. Like, I know that's kind of it's not egotistical, but it was just like the message hit so much at home with me. It was like I felt like I was the only one in the room, and he's just sitting there yelling at me. And the reason for that is just my mistakes that I've made as an owner of a business, as the CEO of a company, as the leader of this organization at Lead Pops. I've got a lot of leaders within, but as it's kind of the tip of the spear, I've not done my job of leading the charge with being the face of the company, really. I find a lot of different excuses to not do the videos, to not do the posts. I'm so busy. I am, but I can definitely find time to produce content and put Lead Pops out there a lot better than I have been doing. I believe in this so much. I see what the difference that we're making in the lives of clients, and it's the most amazing feeling. Like twice at AIM, 2 different times, clients came up to us in tears about how their life has changed. I mean, that to me, that's an overwhelming sense of satisfaction in what we're doing and what we've done, and knowing that there's so much left to go in terms of what we want to build and the solutions we want to provide to our clients. But that meant so much. But at the same time, knowing that I have not been putting us out there and promoting us and talking about what we're able to do and sharing not just Lead Pops, but just experiences that I've had to help other entrepreneurs, maybe folks that are, that are a little bit behind where I'm at currently. Because, I've always looked at people that are out there and looked at that as inspiration and motivation, and just seeing what people are accomplishing is just getting so inspired when I see some of the posts on LinkedIn and online. It really motivates me and it gets me fired up. I'm so happy for them, and it makes me just that much more eager to accomplish some big things. But I know there's a lot that I could share also, just from a business standpoint, that could maybe fire up some other people, get them excited, let them know, hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You never stop pushing and driving yourself, but there's just a lot of content I feel I could put out there that would be helpful. So my commitment to myself and to my team after the show was to really lead the way in that respect for us, to put information out there, help others, not just kind of rely on other people to do it for us. And as a owner, that's a big mistake that I made over the last few years, that I've kind of realized how big the mistake was, is letting another company post to our social media for us. The messaging, the branding, it's been so far off of what Lead Pops really kind of is. And my thought was, hey, we got to be out there. I can't afford an internal marketing person. I'll hire this company, and bless their heart, they did the best they could, but I didn't even give them a lot of direction. I tried to just shoot them some links. These guys do cool stuff. I want something with this vibe. Here's a PDF copy of the book I wrote. Grab good content. There's 300 pages worth. You can't go wrong. Come on, use that. but I was lazy about it, and I just felt like, hey, I've got so much going on. How can I possibly sit here and post to my Twitter and my Instagram and my Facebook and my LinkedIn from a company standpoint? I've always done kind of my own stuff, which, as I just shared, I think has been really lacking in consistency. But from a Lead Pop's business standpoint, I was letting them post, and at first I felt it's pretty good. It's okay. At least I'm not having to do this kind of stuff. As a CEO, I shouldn't be posting to social media. But that was a mistake. I've watched the content and I kind of let it go on for quite some time before I just realized. And my COO, Rosa, my partner, she wouldn't let it go on anymore. She came into my office a couple of weeks ago. She's like, this has got to stop. She shared some of the posts that I've seen, and I cringed when I looked at a couple of them. I'm like, all right, you're right. This is all right. I've let this go on too long. We can afford something a little bit better internally as an upgrade to do this ourselves. So again, it wasn't even the company's fault. It was just my I guess laziness and my wanting to find an easier way out on that, which I think has really definitely not helped what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. So that's something that's just a lot of things have kind of become quite clear to me in the last just few weeks. Culminating and kind of I guess peaking with the Gary Vee talk the other day about how important it is to get in front of where the audience is and staying in front of these people consistently, these people you love and care about, that you want to teach and show and learn from. But if you're behind the scenes and they don't ever see you, they can't, you're just sitting by the sidelines. I'm always, as a marketing guy, as a lead generation guy, pushing my clients and teaching these kinds of things. But then I looked at my own, in my own world, what I was doing, and it was like, man, you are just dropping the ball, brother. So anyways, wanted to share some thoughts on that. So I'm going to be posting a lot more consistently, trying to do this thing daily. If it's not video, it'll be long form, sharing, content, ideas, just thoughts, different things that, I see in my business with clients, big and small. I work with everything from individual loan officers that are new to the business to billion-dollar mortgage lead generation, billion-dollar real estate lead gen companies we've done work for. So a lot of experience kind of in that breadth of a client base. And I think there's a lot to share. So thank you, anyone and everyone that's consuming this content. Thanks for your comments, your likes, your shares. And, if you've made some mistakes or you've learned anything in your business, please do share. I'd love to read some of that in the comments and learn from you as well. I think this is just a big, massive experience. We get to all kind of live together in our own ways, and the more we can share, the better. So thank you again, and I'll be catching you again with a video or a content post or something of value, I hope, real soon.